Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Friday workshop. Well, it doesn't look like Marcy's in here, so I guess she'll have to watch the recording. All right. Well, anyways, we have the screenshot. So these are screenshots are very helpful. So she wants to do like a two-tiered type of stop loss, and so the first section or the first rule of the stop loss is, she wants to break even +1 when it gets to 15 ticks of profit. And then the second tier of the stop loss is once profit gets to 20 ticks, then she wants to trail a trailing stop loss that goes back 3 bars below the lowest, I guess below the price of 3 bars back, and 3 ticks below the third bar. Now, since she's using a median Renko style bar here, my suggestion is just to use a NinjaTrader ATM. All right, that's going to handle this the best way. Particularly this break even +1. That's more of a NinjaTrader ATM type functionality. And since she's using these Renko bars, each bar has a fixed body length, so you can calculate out what your trailing stop will be 3 bars back and then 3 ticks below that third bar back, right? I mean, that's just a fixed distance since you're using these Renko style bars here. So I think that would be the best solution, is to use an ATM. However, if you really want to do something like this using a BloodHound exit logic, that's what I'll show you guys how to do that part. But for anybody who's kind of new to NinjaTrader or just kind of new to ATMs, NinjaTrader has training videos on everything. So let's here we go. Actually, let me leave that. Oh, there we go. There's that screenshot. Okay, so if you want to get to Ninja's training videos, I was given this little tip here it's easy to forget all the little functionalities of software, but the NinjaTrader Control Center has this YouTube link. Right, so YouTube will take you straight to their training material. So let's open this up, and if we scroll down to the bottom, or near the bottom, here we go. It says NinjaTrader Training. So we can go in there, and you can see they have a nice organized section of all their different training videos, and they put these training videos on every day of the week. They have one of these, so you can attend one of these live every day of the week. Let's see. So one of these is going to be, here we go, Advanced Trade Management. Well, this is level 2. So here we go, Advanced Trade Management level 1. So you can watch these 2 videos to learn how to set up an ATM. And I think probably level 2 probably gets into all the advanced stop capabilities that an ATM has. So you'll probably need to watch both of those videos in order to learn, how to set up this 2-tiered type of stop management here. However, in to kind of do this in Raven, we can get really close to approximate this in Raven, and so let's see, I'll cover that next. So I already have, let's see, one of these charts, not that one, this one. Here we go. Alright, so I have a chart kind of set up here. We get a nice uptrend, and I'm using the Pro Renko bars to kind of simulate what looks like Marcy has going. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna kind of draw a couple of boxes here to you know, help me visualize what I want to do. So I'm going to draw some visual aids here. So let's assume that let's see that we enter in, you know, on the second bar here. So the first bar will give us the entry signal, and the second bar will be where we actually enter the trade. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle here and put this on there. That kind of represents our entry signal. And so I'm going to make sure that I have a, you know, a 15 tick box here. So let's go into here and manipulate this, and let's see, I'm gonna make the math easy on me. So 83.15, so that should be 15 ticks for the oil. Yeah, this is oil, so that's 15 ticks. All right, let's apply that. Good deal. All right, so I have a box that's 15 ticks high, and just move it like that. Pull this over. All right, there we go. And see, so the next thing we want, I'm going to draw another box to kind of help me visualize this second part of the stop management, right? So we want to go 3 bars back and then 3 ticks below the third bar back. So let's draw another box here. All right. All right. So I just drew a box from the top of the bar to the bottom of the bar. So that's 3 bars back. And so next, let's see, this is all right, so that's 8 ticks. So as I do the math here, that box is 8 ticks tall. And so what I'm going to do is just add another 3 ticks to this. There we go. And now just kind of bring it back. Right. So once again, let's see, that was 8, so that's 11 ticks. Yeah, okay. So that's 11 ticks. All right, so at least I know, you know, from once we get to, when we, let's bring this back up here. So when we get to 20 ticks of profit, then we want to change our stop loss to essentially 11 ticks behind price. And you know, so this is the kind of math that we have to do in order to set up an ATM, right? In order to set up your advanced ATM trailing stop, right? You have to kind of calculate out the math there, and so that helped me do that. But if we're going to do this in Raven, it's going to be a little different. So let's all right, so let me add Raven on here. We'll go into setting this up in Raven. Well, let me step back, not set this up in Raven, but we're gonna figure out how to set it up in Chameleon first, so that way the logic can be implemented in BloodHound to create an exit logic for Raven. So, all right. So I added Chameleon on here, and you know, I changed my default setup, my default plot scheme for Raven. So it shows my low bounds, and it shows the high. In other words, it shows the high price and the low price. So let me just hit apply, And now you should be able to see the little orange and green hash marks on the price bars there. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use this add value here. And this add value is in points. Right. So if I want to, so I'm going to use this add value to essentially kind of create this a 3-tick offset from the bar low. Right. So the way this trailing stop is worded is we want a trailing stop 3 bars below price, below the price bar with a 3-tick with 3 ticks below the 3rd bar. So we want 3 ticks below the 3rd bar. So so we want 3 ticks below the bar. So what I can do here is put in negative 0.03, right? So with oil, so since this is an oil chart, a tick is 1 penny. So we want 3 ticks, which is 3 pennies in the oil market. So I'll just put in here, 3 pennies and a negative value, and let's hit apply and see if that does it for us. And there we go. So we can see that these low, right, the low plots here have all been offset 3 ticks or 3 cents in the oil market. But look, we can also see that, look, the high price has been offset as well. So let's see. Shoot. Well, okay. I'll use this down area. So you can see this down trend on my chart here on the right side of the chart. So if you look at the green high prices, they're all below. But if we're in a short trade, then obviously we want to reverse the rules. We'd want the this high plot to be 3 ticks above the bar, above the high of the bar here for a short trade. So right now this chameleon is only set up for long trades. So really what I'd want to do as a visual aid, I want to turn these plots off here. Alright, so there we go. So this instance of chameleon essentially is only set up for long trades. Alright, so let me add a second chameleon onto the chart. And what I'll do is I'll turn off the low plots here, the low prices. So now all we have is the high prices. And so now, looks like someone grabbed the data feed. Looks like Jeremy's doing some testing. All right, so now I want to add 3 cents to generate the stop loss, of the high price. So if we're in a short trade, this is going to generate the stop loss for a short trade. So let's hit apply. And there we go. So look, now we have the high plots are 3 ticks above the high, and the low plots are 3 ticks below. All right, so we had to do that with 2 different chameleons because we had a positive add value and we had a negative add value here. So essentially, this kind of sets up the stop loss price that we can then use in the exit logic for Raven here. Let's see, I'm just kind of thinking this through a little bit. Let's see, I'm wondering if maybe using a look back might help. Oops. Yeah, I guess there's multiple ways that we could set up this exit logic. I could use the look back, or I could just use the displacement function in some of the solvers. So I think I'm just gonna leave the look back at 1. Alright, so we'll just kind of leave it like that. Alright, so let's cover each stop loss criteria one at a time. So this first one here, the first one is we just want to go to break even at 15 ticks of profit here. 15 ticks of profit. We want to go to break even. So let's see. Need to grab the data feed back, and I'll connect to simulated data. So that way I can manipulate the data feed here. Alright, so getting back to setting up the first stop loss criteria in Raven. Right, let me add Raven on here. And to do that, if I wanted to do that in Raven, I can use the stop loss here. Right, so we won't be able to use an ATM and a stop loss at the same time. So, alright, and then the next thing I'll need to do is turn the trailing stop on. So there we go, right? So that setting a 15 tick stop loss with a trailing stop, then as soon as price gets up to 15 ticks of profit, our stop loss is going to trail by 15 ticks. So that means our stop loss will move to break even when that happens. All right. So that's the first criteria set up. Now the second criteria set up is going to have to be done inside of an exit logic. So I'll have to build an exit logic here. So, all right, I'll just click OK on that. So that part's done. And so next, we'll have to build a little demo system here that we can plug into Raven. So I'll just make my chart a little bigger. All right, open up BloodHound, and let me get a name for the BloodHound file. And alright, so today is the 17th. There we go. And I'm just going to jump straight into using a logic template here. Normally I usually make my first couple of solvers on the solver tab, but today I'll just jump right into the logic tab over here. So I need to create a new logic template. So this is going to be our simple entry. Just to keep it really simple, I'm just going to use the inflection solver. So whenever price reverses, that's just going to be our entry signal. Something real simple here. So if I change the type to the closing price, right? If we look at our chart now, we can see that whenever price reverses direction, we get a trade signal there, right? So let me name this. So this is using the close price on the inflection solver. Alright, so that's our very simple entry logic there. Done. Alright, so our step is we'll build our exit. Our exit, and let's see, what should we call this? Alright, so how about three ticks below the, let's see, 3 bars back. Alright. There. So, all right. So what we're going to need to do is do some comparisons. So we're gonna have to. I guess let's kind of move forward here and take a look at a bar that's actually building here. So say we're in a downtrend here. Let me force price down. Say we're in a downtrend here, right? Or actually no. Let me force price up. I think it's easier to think about this in a long trade the first time. So I'll force price up. So, all right, price just reversed up here. So price reversed up. Oops, get that arrow going. All right, price reversed up for a long trade. And there we go, price is taking off now. Right? And so what we're gonna be doing is, now that we're in a long trade, we're going to be comparing, and we're going to want to see if if the low of the bar, essentially the low of the bar, broke our chameleon plot line here, right? So chameleon, is tracking the prices, for our stop loss, and we want to see if the low of the bar, ever touches that price there. So if price keeps coming down, like so, we want 3 bars back. So essentially 3 bars back. And there we go. So that essentially is where our stop price is. And it looks like the bar is actually reversed in order to hit that. Let's see, let me... Alright. I'm going to change my... Let's see... Reversal 10... Maybe I should use the backtest Renko to demonstrate this. Yeah, because this isn't actually working out the way Marcy explained it. So we kind of found some discrepancy in that stop loss logic there. Let's see. Yeah, so as I said, this would the best way to handle this would be using an ATM strategy to set that up. But this does make an interesting challenge for doing it in Raven. So I'm just kind of rethinking this through. The way the bars reversed wasn't what I was planning on, which when you're thinking through your strategy, this will definitely happen from time to time. So it's a good this would be a good lesson in trying to solve these things through here. So because the issue that I'm seeing is that when price, when price, essentially we're on this bar, and I need to stop price. There we go. Okay. All right, bars. There we go. Stop. So the thing I'm having to think about is that this bar, this is the bar right where my arrow starts, that where price would actually hit our stop loss. And then I need to look back 1, 2, 3 bars. So as I look back 3 bars, we can see that it's actually not going back far enough because price reversed on us. So using yeah, using a solver, looking back 3 bars. Right, so here, I guess, let me give you a visual aid. So my first thought was to use a comparison solver, right? And I was going to compare the low price of the bar to Chameleon 3 bars back, right? And I can use this displacement function and set it to 3 bars back, you know, to see what Chameleon's values were 3 bars back. However, because the bar's reversed, it's actually not, I guess, in my opinion, you know, the way Marcia wrote the rules out, it's looking at the wrong price. I actually need to look 4 bars back to get to this, right? To get to this stop price here, because so this bar here didn't, right? This bar here, this reversal bar, the first reversal bar, didn't actually touch our stop price. It actually took one more bar, because we're using these special Renko bars. It took one more bar, so that kind of messed up, you know, the rule of, you know, using 3 bars back, you know, using the low of 3 bars back. At least I don't think this is what Marcy intended. So actually, the stop price that we want to use is actually 4 bars back, not 3 bars back, because of this reversal bar occurring. So let's see. Just trying to rethink how we can do this logic. So let me revisit using a 3 look back on Chameleon. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it doesn't look like this is working out either. Let's see. So what I'm looking at here is this reversal bar, right? So this arrow is just representing, you know, looking back 3 bars. So Chameleon's, right, low price is actually way down there, and remember, we need it to be up here at the white line. So if I go one more bar forward, so if I'm looking at this bar and then using this arrow to look back 3 bars, see our Chameleon's low price is actually 1 tick below what we want, right? So let's see. All right. Try a look back of 3. See what that does. Or look back of 2, sorry. Well, a look back of 2 does work in this case. You know, this really is I would consider, you know, kind of funky way to do this. You know, it's really this type of, I guess, using this way of using, you know, Chameleon and doing this kind of calculation. It's really specialized to only work on this type of Renko bar. You know, it's not going to work in general. So just, you know, just keep that in mind, that if we build something, it's really only going to work on this type of bar. If I change any of the parameters for the bar, then, you know, this logic that we're figuring out together, it's probably not going to work on a different type of bar style. You know, if I change the body length or whatnot, that's going to change the reversal length of the bars. You know, so that's going to change all the calculations. So it's another thing to kind of keep in mind. Yeah, I'm just trying to think through of a satisfactory way to do this. See if there's some other tricks I can come up with. Well, yeah, not that I can think of. So, yeah, all right. So this exit logic is going to be specialized, for this bar type only. So just, something to keep in mind there. All right. So we know that instead, well, once again, there's two ways I can do this. I can modify the look back period to 2. And then in my solver, the displacement is going to be, it can be set to 3, or I think to keep this simple, I'm going to use a displacement of 4. Yeah. All right, so okay, yeah. So let me once I start building this, it'll make a little more sense. So, so instead of using a displacement of 3, I'm going to have to use a displacement of 4 because of this extra reversal bar. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we're comparing the low of the bar, right, to Chameleon's red plot line here, right, which is our low price offset by 3 cents. So first thing we want to do is set up the low price. We're going to be comparing the low price and finding out when the low price comes down and touches Chameleon's plot line to trigger that exit logic. So let's just set this up for Chameleon. Now, in order to figure out what we want here, I'll set this up, but then I'll explain it, right? So we have to decide, how is the low plot going to be used? Do we want the low plot, the low of the bar, I'm sorry, not low plot, but do we want the low of the bar to trigger a long signal, or do we want it to trigger a short signal? So let's kind of take a look at this. So if we're in a long trade here, we're in a long trade, and so for an exit logic, you want a short signal, right? A short signal from BloodHound will exit a long trade, right? So if Raven put us in a long trade, then we want a short signal to exit that trade, to close out that trade. So we're going to be using the low of the bar to generate a short signal. Right, so the low of the bar is going to be used to generate a short signal here. And the opposite is going to be true, to close out of a short trade, we're going to use the high of the bar to generate a long signal. All right, and so indicator A is set to our high and low price, and now we're going to be comparing that to SI Chameleon, right? The modified SI Chameleon that's using these modified plot values here. So, all right, so we're comparing to exit a long trade. We're comparing to Chameleon's low plot, right? This red plot. So let's set up indicator B, and once again, we're going to be using Chameleon. And so there we go. So once again, we want to use the low price to generate a short signal. And remember, so now we had to come in here and modify this add value the same way that we did on the chart. So we want to subtract 3 cents from this add value here. All right, and let's take a look at this. Alright, so right now, the way things are set up, kind of interesting, right? This is the bar that we're actually expecting a short signal on to actually close this out of the trade. And so there we go. Alright, so when the low price actually touches this value here, that's when we want a short signal. So we can see that we're actually getting it one bar too late. So let's see, what can we do to modify that? Maybe, is that it? Well, yeah, I think that actually is working correctly. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, so actually we want a displacement of 3. We just found out. All right. Now, one thing to note. Normally, you can do, you can set up your solvers to give you a short and a long signal in the same solver, but remember that if we look at Chameleon here, remember these high prices, we had to add, we used a positive 3 cent value, and then for Chameleon that's plotting the short or the lows, right, plotting the lows, we had to use a negative value, right? So we had to use a, so we had to set up the solver the same way. And right now, this Chameleon is set up to use a negative 3 cents, right? To right. So essentially, this solver is set up to exit our long trades, and so we don't want to see. In this case, we don't want to see these long signals, because this solver is only going to be used to exit our long trades. So we only want to see short outputs. So we're going to turn those longs off. Okay, so let's name this guy. So this is going to exit a long. All right. Okay, so that's done for exiting a long trade. So now we need to set up another solver to exit our short trades. So let's take a look over here. Yeah, this let's see. This here in this adds another interesting complexity. So this right here also is another reason why it would be best to do this in an ATM strategy. This kind of introduces another interesting issue here, but we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that later on. Let's see. All right, I'll use this section here to build our short trade logic. All right, so let's say we're in a short trade here, right? Okay, so we're in a short trade, and all right, so on this bar, let me draw an arrow here. So on this bar, we want to look 3 bars back, and so there is there's our exit price, right? And let me draw another arrow. So there we go. All right, just like that. Okay, so that should be the opposite logic here that I built over here. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab another comparison solver. Let's connect that up. And once again, indicator A. Stretch that out. There we go. Indicator A is going to be chameleon. And all right, so we're going to be using the high of the bar, right? So we're going to be comparing the high of the bar back to this chameleon plot here, this modified chameleon plot here. So we're using the high of the bar to generate a long signal. Oops, I got those backwards. There we go. Yeah. So remember we're in a short trade. So this is right for exiting as short trade, and so we want a long output. We want a long signal to exit this short trade. So we want a long coming from the high price. So when this high price touches the other high price 3 bars back here, we want a long signal. All right, now in indicator B, we have to put in this modified, chameleon price here. So let's go find chameleon again. And we need to add 3 cents this time, like so. And once again, we're using the high price to generate a long signal. So remember, the green plot here represents the high price of the bar, the modified, right, the modified high price there. So, and let's take a look again at the screenshot. You notice this screenshot doesn't show any wicks. There's no wicks on the bar except on the reversal bar. The reversal bars are the only ones that have any wicks. So that's another thing you kind of have to decide. Is this, is this stop logic explained to me? Is this using the body of the bar, or is this using the wicks of the bar? I don't really know. That wasn't explained. So I'm building it. So the exit logic I'm building is using the wicks of the bar. If we want to use the body of the bar, then what I have to do is actually I have to use the open price of the bar. Yeah, I'd have to use the open price of the bar to do that. So, but I'm just gonna make this a more liberal exit logic and just use the high. So, and we're only interested in a long output here. And next thing we need to do is set our displacement so that we're looking 3 bars back. And bingo, look right there. So this is the bar that we actually want to make sure that we exit on. And so there's our first exit signal right there. So it looks like this is working good. And let's remember to give this thing a name. Alright, so this is our exit short comparison solver. And the next step, the easiest part of all of this is just using OrNode and connect these guys together. So alright, I think essentially we have something, you know, good enough to test. So let's gonna test this through here. Alright. So I'm gonna leave BloodHound on the exit logic. So we can see the exit logic, and let's see, I'm going to generate some down bars here for a little bit, and we'll add Raven onto the chart, right? So we'll go into our strategies, and here's Raven already added on here, so we need to finish setting Raven up correctly. So let's load that BloodHound template into Raven. Alright, there it is. And this is kind of a good practice to do, which is to look at your logic here. Look at your logic templates before you proceed, and just make sure that your leaders are all connected up correctly. So you know, it's easy to sometimes you'll find that your leaders are, excuse me, got the hiccups. Sometimes you'll find that your leaders aren't connected up correctly. So it's always good just to kind of take a look, you know, make sure that your leaders and the logic was left in the correct operating state, right? So it's just a good practice to do that. So I'm going to leave this on my entry, right? So I want Raven to show me my entry signals here. So I'm going to put this back to my entry signals and then click OK. What that does is when Raven gets added to the chart, Raven is going to display on the chart. It's going to display my entry signals by selecting my logic template to my entries. Click OK. And since I only have one entry logic, I'm just going to manually lock it to this one. Now our exit logic, we definitely have to go in here and set our exit logic to this template, to this exit template. All right. So let's see. I guess we'll kind of omit the profit target and just leave a stop loss in there. And let's see, backtest mode. I'm going to turn backtest mode off. So one thing to note, if you're running Raven, if you're wanting to forward test Raven live, Raven will load up faster if you turn the backtest mode off, because that way NinjaTrader doesn't have to calculate all that backtest data, and so Raven will load up quicker if NinjaTrader is not working on building all that backtest data. So just a little tip there. And alright, I think that's good enough just to do our back testing. So let's set this up. Alright, so let's reverse this guy into a long trade now. Alright, come on, price.
Order pending.
Okay, There we go. Good, we're in the trade. Alright, let's get a couple of bars going here. Let's kind of get into this long trade. Let's watch our trailing stop. Right? So as the bars go by, our trailing stop will move up. Like so. We'll keep on going. I'll just wait till our stop gets to break even. And I'll mark the bar at which our, there we go. So there's the bar at which our stop actually moved to break even, just to make a note of that. Alright, so now let's get a reversal going here and see what happens when we get this reversal. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that when, right, in Raven, when you're using this exit logic, this isn't.
Order pending.
Oh, there we go. Oh, shoot. You know what? Okay. I need to make some changes to Raven here because my entry signal actually reversed this before the stop got hit. So we'll make some changes on that here. And just hold on. Let me stop this. Close that out. All right. So let me kind of get back to the strategy window here. So the point I was trying to make here is to keep in mind that this exit logic, right? This exit logic here, it's not a stop loss. It's just telling Raven, you know, that hey, wherever price is, you know, you want to close out the trade at this point, you know, and that's wherever price is. So that's not an actual stop loss that's being hit. That's just a signal to Raven saying, hey, close out the position right here. Okay, so just keep that, just so you guys know that distinction. The actual trailing stop or the stop loss is being controlled by our stop loss, you know, value, and of course the trail stop loss there. So, all right, let me modify my price trend, and okay, so I'm gonna have to go in and modify my entry so that the entry doesn't get triggered before the stop loss is hit. So alright, so essentially I delayed this entry so that it's going to wait for 4 bars to go by. Well, it's going to wait for 3 bars to go by, and then on the 4th bar we can see it's going to enter the trade. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so there. So now it's waits for the 4th bar after a reversal here. So there we go. 4th bar after the reversal. 4th bar after. Let's just check a few more. There we go. Yeah. So you notice here we don't get a reversal. There's no short trade on this one reversal bar because we actually have to get 4 bars, you know, in the same direction. Okay, so that looks good. And let me just I'll just show you quickly here what I did. So this inflection solver, I set the look back to 4. Let's take a look here. Right. So setting my look back to 4, right, it essentially gave me 4 bars of, of an output. 4 bars of an output. And then this bar direction, what this guy is doing is this bar direction, I set it to require 4 bars in a row. So we need, 4 bars in a row pointing in the same direction before the bar direction gives us an output. And then I also set the mode to all or none. Right, if I set it to %, if you look at the output, you see how the output is adding up until we get to the 4th bar, and the output is subtracting down. So you can see this kind of has an analog type of an output on the %. But I'm more interested in just the all or nothing, nice clean digital look. So when you combine those two together, there we go. That's what we get. So essentially the AND is allowing when we get the overlapping signals, then the AND gives us an output. So remember, the inflection is giving us signals on the first 4 bars. The bar direction is giving us an output on the 4th bar afterwards. And so this 1 bar where the signals overlap, that's what we're getting from the AND node, is that overlap. Okay, so, all right. So I modified my entry signal. So now what I have to do is go into Raven, and I have to reload that logic, right? I have to reload that BloodHound file. Oops. I need to scroll up to the top. There we go. Okay, so we have to reload this template file. And there we go. Now our entry has been modified. So after reloading it, I can now let's see, finish setting up Raven here. I think, let's see, that's still off. Alright, so everything's still set up the way it was before. I think everything's good. I'll just turn this on, and we'll start an uptrend and get ourselves a long signal here. Now I don't recommend that you have BloodHound on your chart and Raven on your chart at the same time. And the reason why is because, remember, I just had to
order pending.
There's our trade. Remember, I had to reload the BloodHound file into Raven. So that's kind of the reason why I don't recommend that you have BloodHound on the chart and Raven on the chart at the same time, because if I had opened up Raven and made that change would only be there inside of Raven. It wouldn't be, the change would not have shown up inside of BloodHound. So if I accidentally opened BloodHound and then closed it, basically what was inside of BloodHound would have overwrote the changes that were made inside of Raven. So you've got 2 files, they're the exact same file, one in BloodHound and one in Raven, and essentially they're just going to be overwriting each other whichever one you open up. So that's why I recommend that you only keep, one instance of BloodHound on your chart, or Raven. It's kind of dangerous if you keep both BloodHound and Raven on your chart. Okay, oops. I was doing too much talking and I didn't mark that bar where our stop went to break even. But let's just get a reversal going here. And we'll make sure that we're exiting at the right place. So let's okay, so this is our 3rd bar back. And then,
order fill.
oh, so here's one thing to keep in mind with the exit logic is, you know, if price moves really fast, you know, with exit logics, basically you're at the discretion of, you know, where the market price is when an exit logic fires off. So, because an exit logic just tells Raven, you know, hey, just close out my position here, wherever price may be. It's not actually modifying a stop loss. So, yeah, there we have it. Let's try this again. Okay, so we're in a short trade. So let me move this price down, and we'll track this short trade here. And I've got my painter here. There we go. Okay, so there's the bar that moved our stop to break even. Actually, I think it was one bar back actually. All right, so next let me reverse price here.
Order fill. Order pending.
And there we go. So, whoa, let's pause this. So as soon, this time price didn't move that fast. So as soon as our exit logic showed up, remember, so this BloodHound here on top, right? If you look here, BloodHound on top here, I set it to display the exit logic, and then Raven, the orange text, it's set to display our entry. So Raven's displaying our entry, and BloodHound is displaying our exit. So that way we can see our exits on the chart, you know, as we're trying to back test this, make sure we set it up correctly. So we can see as soon as we got the exit signal, you know, what NinjaTrader does is it exits you at the open of the next bar. And so we can see that there's our exit right there at the open of the next bar. Well, not at the open, but as soon as the bar did open, wherever price was. So, yep. So, and this also kind of demonstrates why these bar types, you know, these hybrid Rankos aren't back testable. Because if we take a look, if any of you guys have done any kind of back testing, you know that when NinjaTrader does its back testing, it would actually exit you at the open of the bar here, where the arrowhead is, right? That's how NinjaTrader does its back testing. Is it considers the open of the bar to be where you would actually get where your trade would actually exit or close out, because NinjaTrader doesn't, you know, its back testing framework doesn't know any better. But in reality, we know that price is up here, and so when we did this, you know, live,
order filled,
NinjaTrader was able to give us a more accurate exit price. Whereas when you're back testing on static bars, NinjaTrader uses the open of the bar, which is, you know, way down here at the bottom, and you can see that would give us a lot more profit in this trade using the back test results. So something to keep in mind about all these hybrid Renko bars that are out there. So that's one of the reasons why I created the backtest Renkos, right? Is to demonstrate that difference. So But if I switch it over to the backtest Rankos, unfortunately this logic template wouldn't work. Because remember, the logic template is based on the high and the low of the bar, so it actually wouldn't work correctly. So I'm going to keep in mind. All right, well, I think that kind of concludes that. I'll just leave it at that. Let me look through all these comments that came in here and see if any of these comments are regarding this, this stop loss system here. All right, so let's see. Ken has asked, are those SI Renko bars? And yes, they are. All right, John is asking, how do we get updates? All right, well, John. Well, actually, hold on, John. Let me read through some of these other questions to see if anything pertains to the stop loss here. So just so you guys know, let's see, Leo wanted somebody to post an agenda for today, and just so you guys know, unfortunately, the way GoToWebinar works is when you guys post, when you guys put something in the chat box, if you look, there's a little pull-down menu, and it defaults it to you guys as a question, so no one else actually sees your guys' questions. Yeah, it's kind of one of the things about GoToWebinar. That it'd be nice if it was a little different, but no one else can see your guys' questions. Only I can see your questions. So, all right. So, Leo, there was no. This stop loss system was the only question I had that came in today by email, so that was the only thing. So after this, I'm just going to be taking care of your guys' questions. All right, so Marcy's back in the room. Yeah, so John's got a little comment here. So I hope that, as I'm working these things out, I like to work these problems out in front of you so you guys can also get kind of used to, how do you think through stuff. I kind of want to try and convey the process, the thought process of how do you work through, building a set of logic. How do you take what you see on the chart, that you intuitively know inside your head, and then how do you kind of get that information out? What's the process of getting that information from, a simple thought in your head to something in the chart, and then, getting it into BloodHound. So hopefully, this thought process, it takes a little longer. I mean, I could just whip through this and just kind of build stuff out, but I don't think you guys would learn as much. So I take the time to kind of go through the thought process, thinking sometimes, going through stuff that doesn't work, and then if I find something that doesn't work, well then, how do you, what's the process of, correcting, what didn't work, going on to another process. So hopefully, that, it takes a little longer. Hopefully that working out these problems in front of you kind of gives you an understanding of how you can work things out yourself in your own time. So, all right, so Marcy, you entered in late. So essentially what I said was that an ATM strategy would best handle this. So inside of Raven, let me open up Raven here. So in Raven, remember Raven's very simple, pretty basic functionality, and you know it has a trailing stop, and so I set my stop loss to 15 ticks, and it's just going to trail by 15 ticks. There is no functionality, that the ATM strategy has to just suddenly move to 15. I guess, yeah, there's no functionality to wait until you get to 15 ticks. Not in Raven, right? Raven's just a simple trailing stop. If you want to, wait until you get to 15 ticks and then move, you'll have to use an ATM. So really, Marcy, an ATM is better suited to building your stop loss logic. But I kind of built a comparable system into BloodHounds, just to kind of demonstrate, how this could be done. All right. Okay, I'm just trying to see if there's any more questions regarding this exit logic here. Good question. So Marcy's asking, can you combine a NinjaTrader ATM strategy with an exit logic? Yes, you bet. And run together. Yes, absolutely. All right, let me disable this, close this out, and yeah, let's combine both together here. Just happen to have a DOM open, and let's see. All right, I think I'm going to have to make one up here. Let's see. Stop loss. Trying to remember what the second stop loss was supposed to be. Actually, yeah, 15 ticks. And let's see, I'll just make a profit target of 100. Alright, so I'm just trying to build a ATM here real quick. Alright, so we'll plug this ATM into Raven here, and it'll use our exit logic as well. And yeah, actually it will. Okay. All right, let's turn that off. We'll modify this to an ATM. Looks like I got that correct. Okay, so I still have the same exit logic in here. All right, so there we go. There's our exit logic. And oh, let me turn it back on. All right, let's enter a short trade. Okay, come on, price. Let's get into a trade here. All right, so Marcy's got another question. In Raven, you have trailer stop loss set to true. Does that override? Does that override your exit logic? So no. So so I think I kind of answered that previously, Marcy, when I said that the exit logic is not a trailing stop. It's just a command to Raven to close the position out. So the trailing stops, okay, good. So looks like she got that. All right, thanks, Marcy. Okay, so let's keep an eye on this guy. Let me slow the trend down a little bit. So things don't move. Things can move really fast on these Renko type bars. Get that out of the way. All right, bingo. So there's the ATM that triggered our, you know, our break even +1 at 15 ticks. So our stop loss is just locked there now. So the way this is set up is, let me just kind of crank price down a little bit further. The way this is set up is now essentially we're just going to stay in the trade until our stop loss is hit, or if somehow we actually make $1 on oil. Alright, so let's reverse the trend now, and we'll let the exit logic close out our ATM. Alright, there we go. I'll slow the trend down a little bit. That's pretty good profit for this demo.
Or target filled.
There we go. Closed it out. Alright. One thing you guys might note is that we don't see the entries and exit text.
Order
you can see I have my plot executions turned on here, and you'll notice we don't see it in here, right? But if we look back, oh, that's right. I have backtest mode turned off, so. Let's see. Yeah, that's why we're not seeing it. I have backtest mode turned off. But the point I was trying to make is that when you're executing an ATM, NinjaTrader doesn't display the text on your chart when you're using an ATM. So it's just a limitation on their part. So okay, let's see. Let me turn that off and get through some more questions here. Alright, so just to reiterate, you can combine an ATM and exit logic. You know, so just consider the exit logic as totally separate logic. That has nothing to do with the stop loss. It actually just closes your position out. It puts your exit logic will put Raven flat. That's what it's designed to do. It's not designed as an actual stop loss. You know, it's designed to say the exit logic is there so that so that you can define a set of rules that says market conditions are not favorable now, So if I'm in a trade, I want to get out of the trade. Just close me out of the trade because the market conditions are not favorable. And that's really what the exit logic is designed for. But you can use it also to kind of define loose stop loss type functionality. So all right, so I'm just get through some more of these questions here, see if anything else pertains to the current topic. All right, so Leo is asking about the blue background on the chart trader here. So if you have the blue background, that means you're running the latest version, right? So the previous version of BloodHound has the orange background, and the newest one has this nicer blue one. I gotta admit, I like this blue a lot nicer than I do that orange. So, all right. So Ken is asking if he can have this template, and absolutely. It takes a little bit of time to get these videos edited and processed, before we get them up to YouTube. So in the meantime, if you want the templates right away, all you have to do is just send us an email. Right, just send us an email here at support@sharkindicators.com and ask for the date of the template that you want. So today's the 17th. So excuse me, I have the hiccups again. So make sure you ask for the 17th workshop template files, and we'll get those. We'll attach those to the email and send them off to you. Marcy's asking, all right, do you know if BloodHound will add start and end hours to Raven? Not to Raven, but right now, that functionality right now is actually in BloodHound, right? So let's see, let's open this up here. So I'm opening up BloodHound, and let's move this out of the way. So, oh wait, actually, oops, that's our exit logic. Let me move over to our entry logic. So if you want to restrict your trading system so that it only fires during market hours, there's a time session solver. So this is the guy that you want. And where'd it go? Alright, looks like NinjaTrader's thinking about that for a moment. Okay, there we go. So here's my time session solver. And alright, I'm gonna turn Raven off here. Let's get that off. And let me go to some minute bars here. I'll put minute bars on my chart. Alright, open up BloodHound again, and okay, back to my time session solver here. So what you can do is you can either create your own session template, and I actually might have some in here. Let's see. Let's see. It looks like I have a bunch in here. Let's see what this first 2 hours one is. So all these underscored ones are custom ones that I made, and I put the underscored so they'd be on the top of the list. Let's see. Oh, I also have a 7 to 9 morning, and as I look at this, right, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. So say I only want to trade during those 2 hours. I can set my my session template up to that on that one, and look at the chart. So you can see the output from this solver, right? It outputs a long and a short during that time frame. So if I let's connect up our AND node. So if I take this solver and plug it in to this AND node, see how all the other signals disappeared, and only the signals from 7 to 9 show up now. So that's how you can do that, right? That's how you can restrict your system to certain trading hours. And I can use the same requirements on my exit logic. So if I let's see, where's that? There we go. Here's that existing solver, and right, so I can add this into my exit logic, and the way it is right now, it's not going to work, because right now it's going to be exiting, it's going to be closing every trade from 9 to 7. But let's say you want to make sure that you're flat after 9 o'clock, right? So let's say, so if we go back to our entry logic, right? So we have a short signal right there. Let me mark it, and we'll go back to our exit logic, right? So let's say, so it takes a short trade shortly before the 9 o'clock hour. Let's say we want to make sure that we're flat after that time. What I can do is I can take the same, right, the same solver, and I can invert the output, right? So now remember, this is my exit logic. So whenever I get a signal or an output on my exit logic, it's going to close the trade, right? It's going to close this trade out. So since I have a long output and a short output at the same time, it's going to close any kind of position, right? It's going to close a long trade, and it's going to close a short trade as well, right? So if this short trade is still open when I get to just after 9 o'clock, this solver, since it's giving me a long output, it's going to close out that short trade. And right, so I have this exit logic here, and if I combine this in with an OR node, so this time I want an OR node, not an AND node, because I want all of these conditions, or I want any of these conditions to close my trade out. And right, so now we can see that after 9 o'clock, I just have a solid, long and short output, which will close any type of open position, right? If I look back in time here, right, so you can see we have this long and short output that closes everything, closes all your positions. And all I needed was just the simple inverter node. And so remember this solver, and actually I'll change the name here. So this is 7 to 9 a.m. Right? So there we go. I changed the name on that. And if I look back to my entry logic, right, see this solver name changed as well, because I'm using the same solver, because both solvers have the same session template loaded into them there. So, all right. Okay, yeah, another good question. It's a good question here, just to kind of round out. It's a good way to kind of round out your exit logic, and to round out or kind of put the finishing touches on your entry logic. John was asking, how do we get updates? Do you email us? No. So John, the way you get updates is BloodHound will notify you when there's an update. So I've already updated my BloodHound, so it's not going to notify me, but when there's an update, BloodHound will automatically notify you. You can also go in here and you can manually check for updates if you want. Right? So click on that, and of course my version is already updated. But if there was an update, a different window would pop up, and you can click yes or OK, and it'll open up the web page and take you directly to the update web page, the website. Or the other, another thing to keep in mind is to make sure that your maintenance period has not expired. So if you go to help, click about. If your maintenance period has expired, it will tell you up here that it has expired. So just make sure that there's no red warning that says your maintenance has expired. And if it hasn't, then you're all set and ready to go, and you can just click check for updates, and it'll take you to the web page. And of course, the latest version of BloodHound is always available from our website. So if we just go to the web page here, if we go to support, and we can go to download the installer, the latest version is always available on the website here. And so I can get the latest version from right here too, right? It says BloodHound version 1.210. So everywhere you go, you're going to get the latest version of BloodHound. Andreas has a question here. All right, is it possible to build a divergence template with the CCI making lower lows, coming down from plus 100 while price is still going up? Oh, okay, yeah. So the CCI indicator is coming down, and price is going up, and maybe the ADX histogram is over 40. Yeah, we definitely can, Andreas. What would be helpful is, I guess is, divergences are, it's a loosely defined term. I've seen people define divergences, in different ways. So, Andreas, what I would ask is if you could send a screenshot in, kind of showing your ideal divergence, and show me, what you want to see on the indicator, what you want to see on price, what you want to see on your ADX, all that, detail out all that information on the screenshot. And so next week we can take a look at building that a divergence system on the CCI. All right, Celso is asking, can you explain what the ratio node is used for and when to use it? Yes, actually, I already have. So, all right, so I have BloodHound open here, right? I've got my BloodHound open. So if I go to help, and let's go to video tutorials, all right, that opens up your web browser. And if I scroll down to the bottom, all right, so here we go. The logic nodes in depth, and you can see the ratio node is right there. So you can watch this quick video, and I go into a lot of detail in explaining the different logic nodes. So we can see here I got the AND, the OR, the additive, and the ratio node is at the bottom. It's covered up by the text here. So there you go. So you can watch that at your convenience. And of course, I think the ratio node's at the end. So if you play the video, you might want to just kind of skip towards the end here and catch the ratio node at the end. So it looks like I have the additive node connected up. You might want to skip forward a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. So now I'm starting to talk about the ratio node. You can see that there. So, all right. So Vladimir's got 10 solvers plus 3 ratio nodes, and 10 solvers plus 1 ratio node produce different results. Why? Because you're getting different ratios. It's just the mathematics behind it, Vladimir. let's see, yeah. If you break your solvers up, it's always better to see something, isn't it? So let me just make something up here. All right, so I'll put a couple of ratio nodes on here. So, and so just throwing a bunch of solvers on here, just just to kind of illustrate, to give you a visual illustration. And let's see, what else can I throw on here? An inflection. All right. So if you have everything, there we go. Get out of the way. There we go. So if we have everything plugged into one ratio node, right? The mathematics behind this is that essentially these all kind of have an equal weighting, so the mathematics is kind of, I guess, evenly distributed. And let me add another ratio on here. However, oops. Let me get these plugged in. Now, essentially the different, a ratio is being applied to only these two. And then these two are being calculated for a ratio versus these two being calculated for a ratio. And then if, I don't know if you're trying to do something like this, but essentially you're taking a ratio of 3 and a ratio of 2 and a ratio of 2 and then taking the ratio of all the ratios. Well, because the solvers had to pass through this first ratio, it's the mathematics behind the ratio solver is changing the results when you get into this final ratio node. Let's see, if you want to look at the actual mathematics, Vladimir, you can do that. It's let's see. Yeah. All right. So this menu on the right hand side. If I scroll down to the logic templates, let's see. The mathematics should be on the ratio nodes page. Somewhere on here. Yeah, here we go at the bottom. Okay. Yep. So the bottom there gives the mathematics of how that all works out. All right. All right. Well, guys, that wraps up the questions for today.